Waking up at 3 a.m. with your heart pounding isn't just a normal part of getting older. It's a specific biological distress signal, a warning from inside your fortress that its walls are being sabotaged from within. But those walls can be rebuilt. That signal can be silenced. And it starts not with a pill, but with a critical piece of information that has been overlooked for far too long. You feel it every day, the exhaustion that coffee can no longer fix, the mental fog that clouds your best thinking, the quiet dread that this is simply your new normal. You've been told it's just your age, a decline you must accept. But the real cause of this nightly disruption is something entirely different and far more controllable than you've been led to believe. After spending 2 decades reviewing the research from institutions like Harvard and Johns Hopkins, I can tell you the science is clear. Your body is not failing. It is following a flawed set of instructions. Today I am going to give you the 5 science-backed switches to issue a new set of commands, to finally turn that silent, sleep-stealing hormone off for good. And the most important one is the one almost everyone gets wrong. In fact, everything else on this list, the supplements, the temperature, becomes significantly less effective if you don't do this one thing first. It's a habit that costs nothing, requires no special equipment, and recalibrates your entire biology. Yet almost no one understands how to do it correctly. This isn't just another list of tips. This is a complete synergistic protocol that will resynchronize your body's master clock. By the end of this video, you will have a clear, immediately actionable plan that works whether you are 55 or 85. The science is definitive on this, and the steps are far simpler than you might imagine. To make this practical, do one thing for me right now. Drop your age in the comments below. I want to show you exactly how this framework applies to where you are on your own journey. Consider it the first step in taking back your own data. Now, let's begin our countdown with the foundational piece, item number 5. Let's start with the foundation, the first switch you can flip tonight. We call it the neural brake pedal. This isn't a sedative or a sleeping pill. It's a simple, natural mineral that your body is crying out for. Think of your mind at the end of the day as a race car, its engine still roaring from all the stress and activity. This first switch is the expert foot that gently but firmly applies the brake, telling the engine that the race is over. It's time to head back to the garage for the night. The biological mechanism is both elegant and powerful. The specific mineral is magnesium in its glycinate form. After years of study, what the science consistently shows is that this form of magnesium performs 2 critical jobs. First, it helps regulate cortisol, our main stress hormone. Second, it binds to and stimulates your GABA receptors. Think of GABA as your brain's own calm and quiet messenger. When magnesium activates it, it's like sending a system-wide memo that says, "All clear, stand down. It is safe to rest." This isn't just a theory, it's established biochemistry. Research from the National Institutes of Health, NIH, consistently highlights magnesium's role in over 300 enzyme systems that regulate diverse biochemical reactions in the body, including nerve function and blood pressure regulation. As we age, our ability to absorb magnesium from food can decrease significantly, making us more susceptible to the low-grade, constant engine revving that disrupts sleep. Without sufficient magnesium, your nervous system is essentially stuck in the on position. It lacks the fundamental resource to press that neural brake pedal. This is why you might feel tired but wired at night. Your body is physically exhausted, but your brain simply can't find the off switch. It's a state of being on high alert, even when you're lying in a dark, quiet room. Replenishing this mineral is like giving your braking system a complete overhaul. You're not just hoping the car slows down, you're ensuring the primary mechanism for deceleration is in perfect working order. This allows your mind to transition from the high-energy state of the day to the low-energy restorative state required for deep sleep, making the journey into rest smoother and more reliable. To put this into practice, the solution is straightforward. About 30 to 60 minutes before you intend to sleep, take a high-quality magnesium glycinate supplement. The glycinate part is key. It's highly absorbable by the brain and gentle on the stomach, unlike other forms. This simple act provides your body with the exact raw material it needs to begin the process of neural deceleration, preparing the stage for a peaceful night. Now for an expert tip. To amplify the effect, combine your magnesium with just 10 minutes of slow, deep breathing before bed. The breathing behaviorally activates your parasympathetic nervous system, your body's rest and digest mode, while the magnesium provides the chemical building blocks for that system to work optimally. You're giving the driver the command to brake and ensuring the brake pads themselves are in perfect condition. Ignoring this foundational step, especially after 55, is like trying to sleep with a low-volume fire alarm constantly buzzing in your brain. You might drift off from sheer exhaustion, but you'll never achieve the deep, restorative silence required for cellular repair. But supplementing with magnesium is like putting a patch on a leaky tire if your environment is actively working against you. That brings us to the invisible force in your own bedroom. That invisible force in your bedroom is not a mystery. It's a measurable quantity that most physicians, in a rushed 15-minute appointment, simply don't have time to discuss. This brings us to switch number 4, the hibernation signal. This isn't about finding the perfect blanket. This is about sending a powerful primal signal to your body that it is time to shut down all non-essential programs and begin the critical work of nightly repair. The science is remarkably clear on this. To initiate and maintain deep restorative sleep, your body's core temperature must drop by about 1 to 2 degrees. This temperature drop is a non-negotiable biological trigger. Your body is like a high-performance supercomputer. Throughout the day it runs hot, processing data and executing tasks. But overnight it needs to run its deep diagnostic and repair programs, a function that requires the system to cool down first. Trying to sleep in a warm room is like asking that supercomputer to defragment its hard drive, while simultaneously running a dozen complex simulations. The system is forced to divert precious energy to cooling itself down, creating a state of thermoregulatory conflict. This internal battle prevents the main repair sequence from ever fully launching, leading to fragmented, low-quality sleep, even if you're not consciously waking up. When you deliberately cool your environment, you are essentially telling your body's operating system to close all background apps. This frees up the resources needed for its most important nightly function, cleaning out metabolic waste from the brain, consolidating memories, and repairing cellular damage. The cool temperature isn't just for comfort. It is the essential trigger for this entire maintenance protocol to begin. This is why sleep researchers at leading institutions consistently recommend a bedroom temperature strictly between 65 and 68 degrees Fahrenheit, or 18 to 20 degrees Celsius. This specific range isn't arbitrary. It creates the optimal environment for your body to effortlessly shed heat, facilitating that critical drop in core temperature and signaling that the conditions are right for deep hibernation. Without this signal, your body spends the night fighting its own environment, constantly making small adjustments to prevent overheating. This low-grade battle raises cortisol and keeps your nervous system in a state of alertness, effectively blocking the entrance to the deeper stages of sleep. You might be unconscious for 8 hours, but your body never truly stands down from its active state. I think of my patient John, a 68-year-old engineer from Austin. He came to me convinced he was in the early stages of dementia because his focus was completely gone. His sleep was a mess. We didn't start with complex protocols. We simply adjusted his room temperature and addressed the next habit on our list. 2 weeks later, he called me, his voice full of energy, saying he felt 10 years younger and that the brain fog had finally lifted. The synergy tip here is counterintuitive but powerful. Take a warm bath about 90 minutes before bed. The warm water draws blood to the surface of your skin, and when you get out, the rapid cooling effect accelerates the drop in your core body temperature, effectively tricking your body into feeling sleepy faster. Ignore this signal, and you wake up feeling like you've run a marathon. So you've optimized your mineral intake and your room temperature, but you could be undoing all that good work with a habit you probably do every single night. That nightly habit, the one that unravels all your good work with your supplements and your thermostat, is likely in your hand right now. This brings us to the emotional turning point of our protocol, switch number 3. the melatonin thief. This refers to the non-negotiable act of eliminating all screens, phones, tablets, televisions, for the final 60 minutes before you go to bed. This is where hope truly begins to conquer fear, because this is the switch over which you have the most direct, immediate control. The science on this is irrefutable, and it centers on a hormone called melatonin. Melatonin doesn't force you to sleep, but it plays a far more important role. It unlocks the door to sleep. Its release is governed almost entirely by light. As darkness falls, your brain's pineal gland begins to produce melatonin, which then signals to every cell in your body that nighttime has arrived and it's time to prepare for rest. To truly understand this, we need to use a specific metaphor. Think of melatonin as the quiet, professional gatekeeper of an exclusive nightclub called deep sleep. Under natural conditions, as the sun sets and the world outside gets dark, the gatekeeper sees this as his cue. He steps forward, unlatches the velvet rope, and swings the doors wide open, allowing you to smoothly enter the restorative sanctuary of sleep. But the blue light from your phone or TV screen is a saboteur. It acts as a brilliant artificial spotlight pointed directly into the gatekeeper's eyes. Blinded by this intense light, he is utterly convinced it is still high noon. He keeps the velvet rope firmly in place and the doors to the club securely locked. No matter how tired you are, you're left standing on the sidewalk, unable to get in. This isn't just a story, it's a biological reality, confirmed by countless studies from places like the Harvard Sleep Lab. The specific wavelength of blue light emitted by our devices is uniquely potent at suppressing melatonin production. Using your phone in bed is the biochemical equivalent of drinking a cup of coffee and expecting to feel drowsy. You are sending a direct and powerful command to your brain. Stay awake, and this connects directly to that feeling of losing your independence, that fear that your mind is slipping. Every night you choose the screen over darkness, you are actively robbing your brain of its chance to clean and repair itself. You're trading a few minutes of scrolling for hours of deep restoration, and the price is paid the next day in brain fog, fatigue, and a slower, less resilient mind. Making this one change is a declaration that you value your cognitive future more than cheap, immediate stimulation. The practical application is simple, but it requires commitment. For the last hour of your day, put the phone away, out of reach. The synergy tip here is to replace the screen with a paper book under a dim, warm-colored lamp. This old-fashioned act sends the correct calming signal to your brain. If you absolutely must look at a screen, invest in a quality pair of blue light blocking glasses and turn on your device's night mode. But know that abstinence is always more powerful. If you're already having that aha moment, recognizing yourself in this pattern, do me a quick favor and hit the like button right now. It's a small click for you, but it sends a huge signal to the algorithm that this information is vital, helping it reach someone else who might be awake at 3 a.m. tonight, feeling completely hopeless. And stick with me because the next two items on this list are the most controversial and powerful of them all. Now that you've secured your melatonin production by firing the melatonin thief, we have to address the engine of your body. There's one more major internal process that can hijack your sleep, ignore all your other efforts, and keep your cortisol high all night long. That internal process, the one that can render all your other efforts useless, has nothing to do with your mind and everything to do with your metabolism. This brings us to switch number 2, and it is perhaps the most culturally ingrained habit we have to break. It's called the digestive ceasefire. The rule is brutally simple. Finish your last meal of the day before 7 p.m. For many, this sounds impossible, a mere footnote in weight loss advice. But this has nothing to do with calories and everything to do with a fundamental conflict between two non-negotiable bodily functions. You've been told that eating late leads to weight gain, and while that can be true, it's a dangerous oversimplification. The real problem is far more immediate. Your body is a factory. The day shift is responsible for production, digesting food and creating energy. The night shift is the maintenance and cleaning crew, responsible for cellular repair, memory consolidation, and flushing toxins from the brain. These two teams cannot be on the factory floor at the same time. Jantar tarde é forçar a linha de produção a fazer hora extra. When you eat late, you are forcing the day shift to stay on the clock. This means the cleaning crew, your deep, restorative sleep, is left waiting in the parking lot, unable to enter the facility and do its job. Digestion is an active, demanding process. It raises your core body temperature, it increases your heart rate, and it elevates insulin, all of which are direct signals to your brain to stay alert and active. It's the biological equivalent of trying to have a deep, restful sleep while your internal factory is still buzzing with machinery and fluorescent lights. The science on this is chillingly clear. A landmark study in the European Heart Journal found that late-night eating was strongly associated with having a non-dipper blood pressure profile. This means your blood pressure fails to drop during the night, a key indicator of poor quality sleep, and a significant independent risk factor for heart attacks. You are not just disrupting your sleep, you are putting your cardiovascular system under immense strain, night after night. This is the perfect hormonal storm. The late meal keeps your body temperature and insulin high, which in turn signals your adrenal glands to keep producing cortisol. You have now created, through a simple meal timing choice, the exact biochemical environment that prevents deep sleep. You have locked the gates on your own brain's cleaning crew, allowing metabolic waste to build up and cellular damage to go unrepaired. You are quite literally choosing a late dinner over a healthy brain. Let me tell you about Eleanor. At 75, she was the worst case of insomnia I had ever seen. She was waking up 5 to 6 times a night, was dependent on 2 different sleeping medications, and still felt utterly exhausted. She told me, with tears in her eyes, "I feel like I'm just a burden to my children." We focused her attention on one single habit, the one we're about to discuss next. 6 months later, Eleanor was sleeping a full 7 hours uninterrupted, was completely off her medications, and was back in her garden. She didn't change her genetics, she changed her signals. To make this practical, the synergy tip is to shift your eating schedule. Make lunch your most substantial meal of the day, and have a lighter, earlier dinner that is rich in protein and fiber, but low in refined carbohydrates and sugars. This provides satiety and the building blocks for repair without overburdening your digestive system as it prepares to shut down for the night. You're giving the day shift a manageable final task before they clock out on time. You are now 80% of the way there. If you implement these 4 switches, you will experience a profound shift in your sleep quality. But all of these strategies, every single one, are fighting an uphill battle without the master signal. The one habit that tells your entire body when the day truly begins, and therefore when it must end. I remember the promise I made at the very beginning of this video. I told you that there was one single habit that makes every other strategy, the minerals, the temperature, the screen time rules, profoundly more effective. The one that costs nothing, requires no special equipment, and that almost everyone, including many health experts, gets fundamentally wrong. The final switch. This is the master key that unlocks everything else. This is it. That final, most powerful switch is number 1, the circadian master switch. This is not a supplement, a food, or a device. It is the simple, non-negotiable act of exposing your eyes to 10 to 15 minutes of bright, natural sunlight within the first hour of waking up. That's it. That is the secret. It's the act of stepping outside, without sunglasses, and telling your brain that the day has officially begun. It is the foundational event for your entire 24-hour biological rhythm. This single act is arguably the most powerful lever you have to control your sleep, and by extension, your health. Over 2 decades of peer-reviewed studies from institutions including the Salk Institute, known for its groundbreaking circadian research, have confirmed this. Without this morning light signal, your body is effectively flying blind. It has no definitive starting point for its daily clock, and therefore, no reliable endpoint. You are leaving the most critical hormonal cycles of your life up to chance. The most powerful metaphor is also the most accurate one. Your entire sleep-wake cycle is governed by a precise 24-hour timer located deep within your brain. Morning sunlight is the finger that presses the start button on that timer. That single event is what instructs your brain to begin a roughly 16-hour countdown until it's time to release melatonin, the gatekeeper hormone of sleep. Without that definitive start, the countdown is delayed, erratic, or never properly begins at all. This is how you directly defeat the enemy of high nighttime cortisol. That morning light signal does 2 things. It triggers a healthy spike in morning cortisol to promote wakefulness, which is good. but it also starts the clock on when that cortisol must begin to decline throughout the day. A lack of morning light leads to a blunted, delayed cortisol rhythm, meaning it's still far too high when you're trying to sleep, creating that tired but wired state and waking you at 3 a.m. The biological mechanism is stunningly direct. When bright light enters your eyes, it hits specialized cells in your retina that send a direct signal along your optic nerve to a tiny region in your brain called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, or SCN. This is your body's master clock. The SCN then sends out signals to synchronize the trillions of smaller clocks located in every organ and cell in your body, from your liver to your heart. It is the conductor, ensuring the entire orchestra plays in perfect time. This master switch is what creates the ultimate synergy. The morning light sets the precise timing for your melatonin production, making your brain more sensitive to the melatonin-stealing effects of blue light at night. Item number 3. It reinforces the daily temperature rhythm, making the cool room, item number 4, a more powerful signal. It regulates the adrenal axis, giving the magnesium, item number 5, a clearer cortisol problem to solve. And it aligns your metabolic hormones, making the digestive ceasefire, item number 2, more effective. You are no longer just treating symptoms. You are resetting the entire system from its core. This isn't just a hack. It is a return to the fundamental operating principle of human biology. You are giving your body the one signal it has evolved over millennia to expect, the one signal that the modern indoor world has stolen from us. You are becoming the operator of your own biology once again. This is the final piece of the puzzle. It's the habit that transforms a list of disconnected tips into a powerful, synergistic protocol for reclaiming your energy and your mind. You are no longer a victim of your aging body or your chaotic hormones. You now hold the 5 keys to unlocking the deep, restorative sleep that is your birthright. It begins with the master signal, the morning light that commands the day. Then comes the wisdom to honor the body's need for a digestive ceasefire. It requires the discipline to reject the melatonin thief and welcome the darkness. It demands you create a cool, silent sanctuary for hibernation. And it is fortified by giving your brain the very minerals it needs to finally find quiet. See how these are not hacks, but acts of partnership. Your body is not your enemy. It has always been fighting for you. We just gave it the wrong tools. The fatigue, the brain fog, the 3 a.m. awakenings, these were never signs of failure. They were distress signals from a deeply intelligent system, begging for the right signals to do its job of healing you. Think of your body as a dormant garden, overgrown with the weeds of chronic stress and high cortisol. For years, you may have believed the soil was barren, but it never was. These 5 switches are the tools you now possess. They are how you pull the weeds, nourish the soil, and allow the deep, restorative flowers of health to finally bloom again. You are the gardener. This knowledge transforms you. You are not a passive patient waiting for a diagnosis or a pill. You are the architect of your own health, the operator of your own biology. The power was never in a bottle. It was in the rhythm of your day, in the signals you send, and in the profound understanding that you have the ability to guide your own healing. And this is just the beginning. Now that you have the tools to restore your sleep, we can use that newfound energy to address other challenges. In my next video, we'll use that vitality to tackle the stubborn belly fat that so often accumulates after 55. And the science behind that is just as surprising. Which of these 5 habits are you going to try first? Tell me in the comments below. I read every single one. Roteiro compilado. Pronto para o step 4. Auditor e limpador.